Welcome.
We ain't afraid of no ghosts.
This is your number one podcast for ghoulies and ghosties and long-legged beasties. Bringing you everything you need to know about things that go bump in the night and interviewing the personalities behind them. Make sure your doors and windows are locked. Now, here are your hosts, your ghost hosts, Scott and Julie.
Hey friends, good evening and welcome to another edition of the Paranormal Project. I'm Scott Allen and my co-host Julie Finn. How are you tonight, Julie?
Oh, Scott, I am good. I'm very excited. We met our guest at last fall, I think it was, and he's just a great guy. So really excited to have Joe here tonight.
And people will remember him because he was on Ghost Hunters, which is like the original Ghost Hunters show, and then Ghost Hunters International. So we're going to have a great chat tonight. Chanel, can you bring Mr. Joe Chin out? Hi, Joe. How are you?
Hi, everybody. How are you guys tonight?
Really glad to have you on the show. We're doing great.
Awesome.
Great.
Awesome. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So tell me, Joe, I'm curious, how did all of this start for you?
Oh, it's kind of a crazy kind of story. I'll give you a little bit of background. I come from a large family. My father came to America and fought in the war, and then opened up his own business, a restaurant business, where he had a large family of 11. I'm number 10. I have a younger sister, Chris. And then we had things happen in the house, paranormal-wise.
Oh.
And being Asian, you were taught not to feed it or pay any attention, so you kind of shrug it off. And it wasn't until my later years where I started working for CompUSA, selling equipment and cameras and things, and a person came up to me saying that they were looking for camcorders and digital equipment and all kinds of things for a TV show. I'm like, ooh, a TV show? What's it going to be about? And he says, we're going to look for ghosts. I'm like, what? He said, yeah. Oh, people have trouble and they're scared, and we come out and we check it out. And I was like, wow, that stuff's real? I didn't know. So it opened my eyes a little bit, intrigued me, and it became my regulars. And then finally became friends, and I was able to go to the office and watch them film and the show and show some of the evidence that they recorded and captured. And that got me hooked. I'm like, wow, I've seen things like that, and you hear voices. That stuff's real. He said, yeah. Are you interested? I'm like, yes. And then I was able to join the team, and it's been a whirlwind since.
Wow. How was your family with all of that? Once you got involved with it, were they
split. The younger portion of us, the kids, kind of believed, and the older kids wanted nothing to do with it. You're crazy. You're gonna get possessed by demons, things like that. But that didn't happen, and it really stuck with me. I wanted to know, how did they make these sounds, and how did things happen, and how do they move objects, and I don't want to see any scary faces. But then doing investigations over the years, I learned to say this stuff's real, and I want answers for myself, and
right?
Just trying to soak it all in and trying to be a good investigator and capture good evidence. And that's what I liked about the TAP team. They were like a straightforward, no nonsense, black or white. There's no jump to a conclusion where this goes, and I liked that at first. But then over the years, it evolves.
Well, you've evolved. I mean, we talked a little bit before the show, and metaphysically, you're kind of growing and unfolding, right? As you come along.
Some of it started overseas, filming internationally. And I remember being in a bunker where like 3,000 soldiers were bombed and buried. And I started getting overwhelming feeling where I broke down in tears and cried and couldn't control it. And the camera people were like, what's going on? It's great. We got to film it. I'm like, please give me a few minutes. I was confused. I was distraught. I was really sobbing, and it scared me. So things like that started to happen. And then on some investigations on teams, I would hear things and see things, and I was taught not to bring those things up, but sometimes you can't help it. I blur things out sometimes, where a woman said, oh my gosh, we were in the basement, and one of the investigators says, Joe, If you can see my friend Joe over there, show him something or tell him something that nobody knows. And then immediately I got this flash of a woman with teeth taking it out and going, ah, ah. I
Hmm.
started chuckling and I'm like, what's that? And they were like, what do you see? And I told them, and they said, oh my gosh, that's what the grandmother used to do to the daughter to scare her. They're like, how do you know that? So things like that started happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was the total opposite of what you had been doing, on the
Yeah,
show. I mean, because you can't really this was the personal experiences.
it
So,
was.
so you your sister also is unfolding, you said, at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. It started happening so much on the team. It was kind of just rubbing heads with the team and their ideals and what not to bring forward and what to. But sometimes I would blurt it out, and the the clients would say, "Well, he's correct." But trying to separate the two, and then doing the show and doing other investigations, I said I have to. I got to explore this further, and I want to see what's happening because I get imagery of people that I don't know that looks like a Polaroid picture on this side or this side,
Right.
the motion, and then seeing full apparitions. I hear things in my whispering in my ear. So it's fascinating to me. I want to know how it all happens. Science,
Right. What is this? What's happening to me? And at
What is it?
first you just, I'm an empath,
yes,
and
yeah,
I've,
me too.
throughout my entire life always have been. And I've learned to control it over time. I've had a little bit of classes in mediumship, but working as an investigator is really what I love to do.
Yes.
And I work a lot with Scott, who's a medium.
Mhm.
But basically, I've done that, but it's just not my path. I just enjoy what I'm doing, but
Mhm.
it's extremely hard to control,
Sometimes.
to get those emotions under control and
Yeah.
try. And
Yeah.
especially if you're new to it, I can't imagine how it would have been frightening for you to figure
Oh,
this out.
there was an event I went to in um I want to say Kentucky, where I was doing an investigation with um a couple of paranormal teams, and I had some friends who are mediums and said I can see aura. Another one was a practicing witch, but I was getting an investigation and I would see shadows. So I finally asked the person who was in charge of the building. I said, "What's over here? I keep seeing shadows running back and forth." So psychically, I was seeing a pathway where there used to be a door, and people had a fire and would run that way towards the exit. But then I started getting ill. I started uh, getting those feelings of sobbing, and I I got sick. I started to wanted to vomit, and I couldn't breathe, and I had to get out. I had to get out and go to outside and compose myself because I was bawling and choking and coughing up a storm. And
Yeah.
then my friend says to me, "Oh my gosh, you were over there. I could see your aura. It's gold, and I could see what looked like tendrils poking at you, and there was three of them." And she says, "I was able to grab two off of you, but the third one got in, and that's when you got sick and you ran out." So that frightened me.
Yeah.
And at that point, the woman had a shaman create this jewel for me for protection. She called it an amulet. Amulet, and it was a Native American chief. He says you could see me. Yes, I see this person. He's got a lot of light inside, and I want to make this to protect him. And ever since then, knock on wood, it's been good.
Don't you think too?
Here we
See
go.
that
Right.
you
Yeah.
gotta,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
I mean, don't you
And I
think
made
though?
sure that I gave Scott one of these too. I made
Oh,
sure he has one. You remember, Scott? Where
I
were we
do.
going? And I said, you need protection, and I gave you the stones too. I
I
think it
don't
was Madison
know.
Seminary.
Could have been Madison Seminary because that place is wild.
I'm not sure, but I said, please, I gave you the stones.
Yeah.
This was made from, and I said, please put these in your pocket.
Mm,
You need to have protection.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. It can be
Yes.
very, very frightening if
And
you
when you don't
don't
know what you're
get a hit
doing
on it.
and you don't have control over it, it's like it's just coming at you like this. I mean,
Yes.
Yes.
it's easier now than it was in the beginning, But I get it different too. Like Julie and I, we complement each other in the way because she will get the emotion, she will get the feelings of dread and all of that other stuff.
Oh.
Whereas I don't really get that so much.
Oh.
Very once in a while in a reading, I'll start to feel it, but I don't.
So I use it when we're investigating to keep the people that we investigate with safe.
Yes.
I know I can tell you if it's negative human or negative non-human right off the bat. I can tell you if it's something to worry about. I can tell you if it's safe to go into that room. So that's how I use it to make sure that the people around me stay safe when we are investigating.
Yes, and it's an awesome tool to investigate with, and you can connect psychically with the spirits and get answers. And that's what's
Yes.
amazing too, how you get answers and you help people. That's what I love about it. You help people and get some answers
I
and
think that's the
relief.
bottom line, right? Is that we want answers. We're all looking for answers, but honestly, when we do home investigations, the people are really afraid. They're terribly frightened.
Yeah.
They need answers. Is this going to hurt me? Is this going to hurt my children? What is here? And I think that if you can calm them down, we can't remove it. But if it's grandma or great uncle Herbie, who's just kind of popping in and he's not going to hurt anyone, they
He doesn't
really feel
understand
calm about that.
pressure he's
Yes.
putting, scratching you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And sometimes if you're being scratched, it's only because they're trying to get your attention.
Yes.
And so,
Can you touch me? Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
yes, exactly. So that's where I use my empath gift, is that I can tell if it's negative and meaning harm or if it's not. And so I try to use that a lot to make sure everyone stays safe.
I guess I have the combination of both what you have and his
Mhm.
psychic ability,
Yeah.
and I'm able to control it and put barriers for the
That's
most
good.
part. We had a couple things in our house. I don't know if you know Rosalind Bound from Ghost Hunters Academy.
Yes. No,
She
not
was
her, but of her. Yes.
okay. Well, we're friends, and she was over my house for breakfast, and we were sitting around making breakfast and talking about a particular person who may have a negative attachment. And we were talking about him and trying to get some answers. And then this Pyrex dish that's on our stove shattered into a million pieces. The stove wasn't on. It was just had toast and bacon and things like that on it. Immediately, I went to jump into protection. You get out of my house right now. Get out of here. And I guess I pushed it out because it felt awesome to say, get out.
Yes.
My
And a lot of
space.
times we can do that, and anyone can really do that. And I think when we're talking to people who have an entity in their house that they don't want in the house, one of the things we do is we tell them to take control of your home and tell the
Utmost
entity,
important.
yes, you are welcome here, but you're not able, this is these are the lines you cannot cross, or you're not welcome. This is my home and you need to leave.
Yeah,
You need
this
to
is
get
my
out.
time. You had your time in this house and you need to move on. If I can help you move on, then I like to help those spirits too, if
Yes.
I can.
Yes, which is then Scott comes in, and Scott's
Yes.
been able to help spirit cross over and
Awesome.
go into the
Awesome.
light, which is
Awesome.
great.
Yeah,
I can't do that yet.
It's funny because I didn't think I could either until I did. So,
Right?
that's how it worked. I've done it twice, and but
Must be a gratifying feeling.
it is.
Set them free.
Except the second time he came back, Julie and I were up in Maine, sitting in a diner, and she's on the phone with her daughter, and her daughter has had this entity. I mean, how long, Julie? Chasing her around for?
My daughter had an attachment. My daughter went to Salve Regina in Newport, Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And her senior year, she and 3 other young women rented a house. And she's extremely psychic. She doesn't use it. She's like a beacon. They're just attracted to her. This man attached to her. We kept saging. We kept trying to get rid of him. Now she's 33 years old, and she had this her senior year in college. So she had this attachment for 10 years. We
Oh my
kept
goodness.
trying, saging, trying to get rid of him. And at one point, he actually showed up in our home. And I was asleep. He came into my bedroom and he presented as a shadow figure leaning over my bed, which
No,
is
I
what
hate
he would
that.
do to my daughter. But I'm not a younger woman. And I think the authority in my voice was first I was scared and I turned. And then I looked back and I just gave the get out now. You do not belong here. And
Yeah.
he did leave, but we had to get the help of a shaman to finally
Yeah.
get rid of this attachment. Shamans are powerful, powerful people. And this man, Michael Robichaud, was, I mean, absolutely fantastic. He worked with my daughter, and in 2 weeks, after 10 years, within 2 weeks, she finally had some peace.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
But
Does
it
yours-
is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Okay.
didn't mean to interrupt you. Yeah. No, I was going to ask you if your sister, does she have the same, I mean, do you have different abilities, or does it manifest differently with each of you, or are you both kind of the same?
No, she's got some amazing abilities. She's got the ability of psychometry, where she's
Oh,
able to glean from objects. She takes
Yeah.
objects for people.
Yeah.
Do not tell me. And she gets her pad out. And she sketches words. She draws pictures. She draws people, jewelry, things like that. And a lot of the times, it's right on the money. People end up crying and say, "Oh my gosh, nobody knew that." And she helps people find things. She was in a doctor's office, and the doctor couldn't find this piece he was looking for, and they were kind of friends. She said, "Oh, doc, I see it. It's in the box in the room over there." No. We checked it 3 times, me and the secretary. She said, "Doc, I'm telling you, look in the box on the bottom in the corner." He goes, "All right, I'm gonna prove you wrong." So he goes in the room, does exactly that. Bing! He pulls it out. Oh my gosh, how do you know that?
we don't know how we know that.
Well,
That's the
that's the
bottom
thing.
line.
That's the
We
thing.
just
How do you
don't-
know? You know?
That's it. It's like Scott when we did the house reading, and the husband had said he didn't believe his wife was coming to the reading. He didn't believe in anything, and he just stood there. He picked an apple up off the table, held it up to his wife, and said, "I will believe you if this psychic guy says apple." And Scott, you could tell the rest of the story because it's awesome.
We're sitting around the table now. I never met him. He said this before she came over to the house for the reading, and I don't know. I can't even remember. We were talking, and I said, "This is really odd. I have an older gentleman here, and he's just. This is really random, but he's just going like this and showing me an apple. Does anybody know what that is?" I thought he was going to fall off the chair.
That's awesome. That's the aha moment that a lot of people need.
It is. And when and then you're like, wow, how'd I do that? You know, because
Yeah.
I don't even know how, after the fact, it's almost like you don't even remember how you got it.
I just report what I see and feel and hear.
Exactly. And then, like you say, sometimes you forget. I see our friend Barbara Halliday is here. Hi, Barb.
Oh, hi, Barbara. Yeah.
Hi, Barbara. Barbara investigates with us. She is our
Hi, Barbara.
photographer.
I need some pictures.
Oh,
we
we
have-
have a picture. Let me tell you, the next time I know that I'm going to meet up with you, I will show you a photo that Barbara took at a place in New Hampshire called the James House. This has circulated everywhere, and professional photographers cannot figure out what it is.
Oh, my
It
goodness.
is energy coming out of a closet. I mean, it is just absolutely wild. After the show, you can give me your info, and I'll ask Barbara to send it to you. You need to see this. It's
Wow.
crazy.
That's
No one
crazy.
can figure it out. And I'm not sure if you know.
Ectoplasm,
Yeah.
spirit.
It's absolutely incredible. It came out of a closet where one of the teams that is the investigating team there at the James House. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it.
No,
Willie
no.
Hassel and Lynn are there, and we showed them the photo and they showed it around. They said that's the same closet that one of their seasoned investigators said he opened the door and something grabbed his arm and attempted to pull him
Yes.
into the closet.
Ew,
And they
ew,
told
I
us
don't like
this
that.
after we showed them the photo.
Wow,
So
that's
yes, I
crazy.
see Barbara saying it's an amazing photo. It
It's an
absolutely is.
amazing photo, and I'm looking to see if I have it, but I don't know if I can put my finger on it right now. I would show
Right.
everybody.
It
But
was
yeah, it's great. If Barbara, if you have it and can send it to me, and I'll put it up so everyone can see it because it's kind of an amazing photo. Hi,
it was
Joyce.
Hi, Joyce.
Yeah, and we have 2/3 of the Solstice sisters here tonight, Dana and Christina. Do you know Dana Stricker and Christina? They're the Solstice sisters, and there's one more. There's Kathy.
Um, I recognize faces, not good with
Yeah,
names. I'm a
yeah, they
visual
both.
person.
same
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
same with me. People will say, "Well, we met," and then I look at them and I say, "I know exactly who you are now."
Yes,
Just
I
please
know
don't ask me
faces,
your
but
name.
names escape me.
Oh,
There you go.
telling you.
Exactly. I've always same. I've been a visual learner my entire life.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh,
So I'm curious because Dustin was on the show. Oh, well, it's been a while now,
a
but
couple of months ago, yeah.
at least it was probably last summer. Right? At this point, it was quite a while ago. But he was talking about how much he loved the Europe trip. It became a bit
Oh,
much, I think, being away from home. But
it
Ghost
did.
Hunters
I felt bad for him. I
International,
could see the struggle of him missing his daughter when
yeah,
we were out overseas. But I loved it. I loved the 100% of the whole experience. A lot of people were bumming out on the show, and it was a little hard for me to understand. But Dustin, I understand because he had a daughter. But other
From
people
family,
just,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
other people just miss being home. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're young and you're traveling the world. You should be excited and full of energy.
And you're
And no,
investigating, you're ghost
I
hunting,
know
not
you're
just
yeah,
doing
traveling
what you
the world, but
love.
you're ghost hunting.
instead
Yes,
miserable in the corner and hating being out here. I'm like,
Oh
oh my
my God,
gosh, it's time of my life. I'll never forget it.
I that
really.
that would be my dream,
Yeah,
really.
It was
oh,
awesome.
honestly, I think you should try to get the team back together, and we know some people.
Right? I would love to. I gotta go visit my friend Barry in Ireland. I
Oh
miss him
my
Yeah,
gosh,
dearly.
I loved watching the shows with Barry.
He's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know him personally, but we're friends on Facebook. I love following him on Facebook.
We're
It's just,
very close. Every time I go over, I stay with him, and I'm
oh,
always
that's
trying to
great.
contact him. He's an awesome person.
That's great. And
Yeah, he's like
I'll
a
tell
brother.
you to ghost hunt in Ireland. I mean, I've ghost hunted in Scotland. I
Yeah.
visited Scotland. I visited Ireland twice, but
Yes.
never ghost hunted.
Oh, there's some great
Not
places
in
out there.
Ireland.
Ah, Mr.
What a
Fitz will show you around.
That would be fabulous. It really would. Next time you think you're going over there, Joe, let me know. I'll grab a ticket.
Right?
So where do you I'm sure it's really hard to pick one, but where do you think was the best place that you investigated as far as
Wow.
getting, yeah, that tough, right?
Well, 33 countries, so there have been many,
Yeah.
many, many places.
wow.
Okay.
A lot of
What
it
would
sticks
stand
out to
out as
me.
far as, yeah, evidence?
Probably the place I got bit. I had a ghost bite my arm and leave
Oh,
teeth
yeah.
marks, and that was
Yes.
in Denmark.
Yes.
That really frightened me that I know ghosts could leave teeth marks in your arm, and I'm like, what?
Yikes.
Yeah, they were all excited. Oh my gosh, there's teeth marks! Awesome. Let's see if it happens again. Go downstairs. I'm like, can you give me a few minutes? You're kidding.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I heard
Uh,
there's
uh,
something rotten over there. You have to be careful.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Bada
a lot
boom.
of amazing places. The ATM cave in Belize, where you had to hike 2 miles in the jungle, spelunk in the cave, and then you see that Kristen maiden at the end of the cave where it's all crystallized skeleton. That was a
That's
amazing trip
amazing.
too. It got to
Yeah.
be like a travel adventure show.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
which
which
I
is
loved.
great. I mean, travel show, and then you get to investigate. I mean,
Both.
really,
It was
right.
awesome. You get to keep the flyer miles, see some amazing things, immerse
Yes,
yourself into culture.
Yes.
Amazing, amazing.
And do you
absolutely.
think too? I mean, Julie and I noticed this when we were over in Scotland this year too. The spirits are older; they're more experienced. I know that sounds crazy, but it seems like they could be a lot more intense.
Intense and communicate, I think, better than
Yes,
just the scratching and the a little bit of words.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get sentences like, wow.
Which is absolutely crazy. I mean, I've seen it
Incredible.
on the show, and that's it. But I think it's 2,000 years as opposed to 200 years in this country
Yeah.
of energy building up is just amazing.
Yeah. And then going to the Mayan ruins, investigating temple areas.
Um,
Crazy. We saw this white apparition of a lady in between one of the temple mounds and a cave. And it's like amazing, crazy, crazy
well, let me
things.
tell you, Joe, if they ever want to do a show like that again, Julie and I are available. She's retired.
And we
And
know
I'm
a great
very
photographer,
flexible
too.
with that.
Oh, I
I'm
would love,
retired, Joe. I could have my bag packed in 10 minutes.
right? I'm retired too.
There we go.
It's just that would be just a dream for me, really
Yeah,
and
just
truly.
to travel and to see the sights and
Ah,
investigate and immerse yourself into the outers of the world.
how
And
long were you gone for when you would film? How long was it?
when we filmed for GHI, we would go out for 5 weeks, come back
Oh,
home for like a week and a half, two
yeah,
weeks, and then go
yeah.
back out for another 5 weeks. And we
Oh,
did it for like 8 months.
Wow.
So
Okay,
that was a lot of traveling.
that is a lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
but awesome.
And I'm
I
sure,
I
like,
wouldn't give it up for the
5-star
world.
hotels. I'm sure
No,
5-star.
no,
I know,
no.
I know. That's what
Sometimes,
Dustin was saying.
sometimes it was like the Shangri-La marble and glass
Right.
everywhere, and then next year stepping over wires so you don't want to get electrocuted.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And
Yeah,
here's your mosquito netting.
here's your mosquito netting, and your toilet is a little hole in the ground.
Oh my
Okay.
Yikes.
God.
It's all good.
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
sexy about that, boy. I'll tell
Right.
you.
You eat your
Oh,
meals at the gas station. It's
yeah.
not glorious, but it's an
Hey, you
experience
But
know
for
what an
what?
sure.
experience.
Love
Well,
the
that's
whole
it. It's
thing.
an experience.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, you'll
Wow.
take that
Awesome.
with you the rest of your life,
Yes. Right.
for sure.
Awesome. Awesome memories.
Yeah, it's just a shame that I really enjoyed that show because it was so different. It's a shame that it's not still
Yeah,
going.
they said they wanted to end the show on a high note when it was most popular, and that really didn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I hear
But
you. Yeah.
you know,
So
we'll
maybe,
do a revision.
that's it. Or a couple of times a year, do a special.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. Yeah, no, that's true.
That's
So,
pick a country that's super haunted. Let's
yeah,
face it, there are so many places that just have so much stuff going on.
Yeah.
Pick a
Yeah.
couple of countries and bing, there you are.
A couple of
right.
times we couldn't go to some countries, like we were supposed to go to Egypt, but before we were going to fly out, they got bombed. The embassy got bombed, so that canceled the show. And
Oh,
then we
Yeah.
were supposed to go to Antarctica, and just before we were
wow.
about to ship out again, they said no, the window's closing. You'll be stuck out there for 3 months. We are like, no, okay,
No,
we won't
thank
go
you.
there. And then China, I wanted to go to China, but the government wouldn't allow us in the country, so we couldn't go to
Really?
China. Yeah, Josh Gates went.
Right,
I wanted to
exactly.
go. They got canceled for some reason. I don't know.
Wow. Now, what
Yeah.
year were you doing GHI? What
I
year?
started in 2008.
Okay, so they
We went
got
for
bombed.
There was 3 seasons, right?
3 seasons. The last time we filmed, I think, was 2012 or 2015. We ended up in Canada. I think that was the last time we
Ah.
filmed.
Right.
Because it's funny. I was just posting some pictures. I don't know if you saw them, but when I was in Egypt, but that was 20 years ago. So that was 2003, and they had just been bombed like a year or two before. And the funny thing is I got this trip. It cost me under $1,000 to go to Egypt, and that included airfare
Wow.
with a cruise down the Nile and hotel and everything. It was crazy. And that's why I
Wow.
went. Otherwise, 20 years ago, it would have been cost prohibitive otherwise.
I
But
would have
then
loved
they
to
were,
have gone.
then they were bombed after that again. So that's why I was trying to figure the timing. I didn't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
2008.
Yeah.
That's about
I
right.
forgot. I don't know the year, but I remember they were saying, "Oh nope, the embassy got bombed," and because you're supposed
Ugh,
to go to Cairo or something. We wanted to see the pyramids, but
Oh my
oh.
gosh, that would have been something. Seriously.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And can you imagine investigating in there and what you might get if you were investigating?
Well, have you
Uh,
seen the Josh Gates show where he investigated in there?
I'm claustrophobic. I don't know if I could do it.
It's not a good spot
I
for you
think
if
I'd
you
be
are.
afraid. I'd be terrified, but I would have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
remember they in the show that Josh did, they had one of the investigators, or possibly a cameraman who was in there and was hearing, as he was being filmed, there was walking. He was completely alone. There was walking and all sorts of noises. And he freaked out and he's like, get me out of here. That's it. I'm done. Get me out of here.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. I would get freaked out too if I was alone and I heard the walking and stuff, but
Yeah.
I would still need to do it.
But when you walk in and it's, you have to duck. You can't stand up straight. And it's just down, 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 down. And it's one path in. It's one path, but you've got people coming up and people going down. And it's just, it's wood. They put wood in there so you can kind of grip it. And they put little like strips so that you don't slide all the way down, because it's like this all the way down. And then you come down to the very bottom and you can finally stand up and you're in this open area.
Is it hard to breathe in there? I imagine.
I don't remember it being difficult to breathe, but if I can see where being claustrophobic would not be a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do it.
Yeah,
I think that I could do. I mean, I don't really like enclosed spaces all that much. Like I could never, be a caver or something like that where you have to belly crawl through things.
Yeah,
but I think I could do, I could do something like that. I could be in the Pharaoh's tomb or something for a little bit.
We had gone to, I believe it was Germany, and we were at a fort where they had earthquakes a few days before, but we were supposed to investigate tunnels. So we end up having to go in the tunnels, and they said you can't shout. If you get stuck and the caves in, you can suck all the water from the roots that were hanging down from the ceiling.
Oh, great. Okay, sure.
That's what I said. So I'm going to go in there for 20 minutes. I'll do a AVP session. And then I'm heading out.
Oh my God.
Seriously.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Suckle on the roots if you get stuck.
Suckle on the roots until you die. Okay, sure.
Just make sure the camera gets it.
Right. It wouldn't take long. I would be scared to death, and that would be that.
Yeah, Serbia, because we were doing a taxi ride, and we had seen some bridges, and we said, "Oh, what happened to that bridge over there?" And they said, "Oh, you Americans bombed it." I'm like, "Oops."
Whoops.
Oops, my bad. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Well, Joe, Marion Loma from SK Pierce is saying hello. She says she misses you.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
The mansion in Gardner, Mass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. We were
Great
just
place.
there a few weeks ago.
Right? We had some experiences in there.
Were you with Ghost Hunters when they investigated there?
I had did an event with I'll forget his name, excuse me. But
Edwin?
he wanted to do no.
No.
I forget his name. Oh my gosh, he's gonna kill me. But he invited us to an investigation they were doing at the SK Pierce.
Oh, okay.
And we had done an investigation there. And upstairs we had some activity, and in the brothel room, I got turned down because my friend says, "My friend Joe here is laying on the bed. Would you like to lay in bed with him?" And the spirit said, "No." I'm like, "What?"
Darn it.
Yeah. Right, so
Oh my gosh. Well,
lady of the night turned me down in spirit.
Oh my God.
Well, it's definitely worth a trip back there because the front parlor, the ladies' parlor, as they call it, has been super active lately. Yep. Scott and I had the basement's always crazy. For me, I'm not, I don't like the basement all that much, but when we went there just a couple of weeks ago, and I remember we were driving there and I said, you know what, we need to concentrate on the ladies' parlor tonight because I think something's going to go on. And we had a lot of stuff happen there. And I think I was probably thinking about what we saw when Scott and I were there. And we got an incredible Class A EVP a couple of years ago. And Scott could tell you about that because he tells the story so much better than I do.
Well, we were in there, and it was funny because we felt something. We felt two entities come around behind us, and then we looked up, and thank God she was there, because if there was no one else there, I would have thought I was losing my mind. This thing came across the ceiling, this black, misty, but not a mist. It was more. How to explain it? It was sort of solid, but you could kind of see through it.
Opaque. It was kind of an opaque, amorphous type thing.
Yeah.
Just crawling across
the ceiling and went right
ceiling.
up between the chandelier and the ceiling and disappeared. And I saw it twice. I think you only saw it once. You had to be
I
looking
saw-
up. I couldn't believe it. I don't know what
We
it
both
was.
just looked at each other and simultaneously said, "Did you just see that?"
Oh my
It was
goodness.
crazy.
And I
That-
pulled out my EVP. I pulled out my recorder and I said, "Did we just see you?" And plain as day, yes.
Oh,
Oof.
that's what the woman who bought the house had witnessed. Something black came off the floor and scared her.
Lillian, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
I remember
Whatever that is still there.
Oh.
I don't know what it is, but I didn't feel threatened,
Mhm.
which means that it was definitely not negative.
Just an
And it
angry
was definitely
spirit.
human, because if it's non-human, I can tell. It was
Yeah,
definitely human. It wasn't negative at all. Not saying it was a positive spirit either. It was just there.
I think it's
So,
that man that got burned in the bed.
oh,
Oh, it's
Enos.
sorry. Yeah.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
quite possible it is, because we were getting some EVPs a couple of weeks ago. I think, didn't Brendan get EVPs from Enos just when we were there 2 or 3 weeks ago?
Right. And we were doing the Estes method with Marion, and he was
Oh.
coming through, and she was saying, he
Yes.
burnt, and oh my God, it was,
Oh, yes.
it was crazy.
Marion did get a little upset because it was quite intense.
Sure.
When we were in his room, and afterwards, she had said, "I've never," Marion had said, "I've never done the Estes like that before and gotten those kind of answers, and it was hurting and burning. It was not, it was
Right,
tough."
right.
So she stopped. She just put a stop to it. But yeah, the house has been really active the last couple
Yeah,
of.
I remember smelling smoke in there in his room, like
Yeah.
burnt
Oh.
cinder.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
smelling that.
Yeah.
You were there before they remodeled, or have you seen it finished?
No, I hadn't seen it finished. This was gosh, this had to be a good 8 years ago, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
It was Mark and Lauren Sheridan that had a presentation and a group investigation. They invited us there.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. It's worth a trip
Mark
back.
and-
The house is
Was this
absolutely beautiful.
when? Yes, it is. Joe, was this when we couldn't use? There wasn't any heat, and we couldn't use the bathrooms because there wasn't any water, and we had to go across to the pizza place.
Yes.
I think Barbara and I were there with you.
Oh,
I think Mark and Lauren. I think Barbara and I were there with Barbara and I were definitely there in that time period.
wow.
And that's Mark and Lauren. It sounds very familiar. Barbara is better with names than I am, but I remember that, and I remember the pizza place across the street
Yes.
would let us use the bathroom
Yes.
as long as we bought something.
Oh, buy a pizza, I promise.
I promise, I'll buy a sandwich, please. I beg you, just let me use your bathroom.
Yeah. 'Cause that's tough having
I'm
no
not buying
restroom.
water though. I draw the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So speaking of events, what do you have coming up? Do you have any coming up?
I do.
Yeah.
I think in July, my sister Chris and I will be doing Battlefield Bash, Gettysburg Bash, and down in
Oh, are you
Gettysburg,
going down
Pennsylvania.
there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We're doing an event down there. There were the
Nice.
GBS people um, are going to be there. I forget his name. Oh my goodness, he's going to kill me. But yeah, he was part of GBSG, and they live down in there, and they do the Gettysburg Bash. So they
Nice.
invited us this year with our mediumship. So hopefully we'll be able to do
Oh,
that. My sister
Wow.
Chris and
Good for
I.
you.
And then we're doing supposedly the Warrens Paracon in October.
Mohegan
supposed-
Sun.
Mohegan
No.
Sun.
Oh yeah. That one's Mohegan Sun. Yep. The
Yeah.
Phantasma
And
Con.
then I'm supposed to do the Arkansas World War II veterans in Arkansas.
Oh,
I'm going to an event there for 4 days because my father was a veteran and they have a World War II benefit and they wanted me to come.
Oh,
So
wow.
I said, sure.
yeah.
So we're going to do that.
for you.
And then there's one more that I have lined up. Let's see, it was Gettysburg, um, the casino, Ocean State Paracon, of course, is going to be coming in September again, probably at Plain Ridge.
Actually, they're gonna. Ken
Talked
posted
about doing it
it.
at the house.
Yes, it's going to be in Harrisville now. They said it. They just posted it today. It's supposed to be in Harrisville this year, back in Rhode Island. I don't know
Yeah,
how they'll do that because I know parking was an issue for Halloween, so I don't know.
yeah.
If
She's got like it's just street. I don't know if she's got
Yeah.
land that maybe they might have made into a place where we could have tables and outside tents, but
I
it's
don't know.
Yeah,
right
but
on the
then where are
street.
people? That's it. I don't see
Maybe
anywhere
park.
for them to
Yeah.
park unless they have some sort of a deal with maybe the town may have a
I-
public parking lot or something.
Perhaps they might arrange something because they said they are desperately trying to do it there. But if not, I guess they'll fall back. Would have been
Back to Plain Ridge. Yeah.
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 See, I like Plain Ridge because when I'm
I
done,
do
I can go
too.
play the slots a little bit or
Play the
Me
something.
too. We live 20
there you
minutes, so
go.
it's great.
Yep. That's I'm looking forward to Mohegan Sun. They have some really nice slot machines at the Mohegan Sun.
Mohegan Sun, Foxwoods,
Yeah.
Encore.
There you go.
Yeah. My mom was a big casino person.
Your mom,
and,
yeah.
Oh, I love
when
the
she had
penny
cancer,
slots.
after chemo, we would take her to Foxwoods, and
Uh,
she loved the slot machines. So I got used to it, and we love it, and we do it in memory of her sometimes, and sometimes Mom grants us a little winning machine.
There you
well,
go.
that's nice of her.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Right.
Yep. I like a good penny slot machine. I have to admit
Yep.
it.
yeah. You win a lot of money on it. You win $1,600 sometimes.
Jeez, I would never been because I only bet like 25 cents.
I do too, but sometimes you hit that once, hit the max, and you get lucky.
There you go. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Once I start playing with their money, then I'll do a little higher and a little higher.
That's what I try to do. It's take the money with me, put it back in my pocket, and play with their money.
Yep, there you go. Exactly.
Sometimes.
Exactly. Yes.
There you go.
I walk past the machines hoping that my psychic empathness would kind of doesn't work. It doesn't
No.
work, Joe.
You're not supposed to ask for money, so we won't give it to you.
I know, right? Exactly.
So Jonathan just said it'll be back at the assembly. What is the assembly?
The Assembly Theater.
Is that a theater? And Jonathan, if you're watching, is that right in
It's
Harrisville?
Yeah, it's in Harrisville.
Oh, it's in Harrisville. Okay.
I don't know. The first time we had Ocean State there, it's at the Assembly Theater, and then there's a big open lot where we had the tables and the chairs and food trucks at the Assembly Theater in
this is
Coventry.
Harrisville. Maybe that's what they're talking about.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's
What
not
is
the
it?
house. I thought they wanted to have it at the house, but maybe
They did. They I don't know if they were still trying, but
Oh, okay.
originally it was at the place that you just mentioned.
Oh, that's interesting.
For a couple of years. We did like 2 or 3 years straight there at the Assembly Theater.
Right.
in
Is that a
Harrisville.
working theater or?
Yeah, they have plays sometimes, and they would have town meetings and things like
Oh.
that. But then I changed hand, and they were for against it, and now they're going back with it. So I don't know.
Is it an old theater? Has it been around for a while?
Yeah, it's been around for a while. Andrew used to go there as a kid and do plays
So
there
maybe
and
it's
sing
haunted.
Broadway things.
Maybe there are some
It
spirits.
is haunted.
There we go.
There's hauntings in the basement, in the dressing rooms, on the
Oh.
stage, on the
Yeah.
back of the stage area.
Oh,
Wow.
okay. There we go. Okay. So that would be the perfect place then.
Yeah. Back to
We
the
should look
old
that up.
Assembly Theater, which is nice.
Yeah, something different. Very interesting.
I'm not at liberty to say where, but Julie and I are investigating a haunted opera house
Oh,
the next couple of weeks, and I can't wait. It's going to be one of those deals where you have to run across the street to the pizza place to use the bathroom.
And there's no heat, but that's
No, nothing.
okay. And yes, and the people that have invited us there are going to be on the show in the end when
Probably
I'm
the beginning
not
of
really-
April, I think. I think
I
they're
believe
on
it's in
early April or something.
I believe it's April, and we'll talk about it then. But yeah, so we're really excited about this.
Yeah, it should be a lot of
great.
fun.
It's opera theater. Theaters are so big, and they're right at acoustics.
That's
It'll
it.
be-
And they say there's a lot of activity there, but they're only allowed to take 4 people in at a time to investigate.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
really?
fair because it's an ample theater. The voices carry. So I guess a
That makes
limited
a
number of
lot of sense. Yep.
investigators.
Yep. So
Cool.
we're excited. It's me, Scott, Barbara, and our friend Cindy are going to be going headed there. So
That
Awesome.
way,
it's
none of us have to go sit in the car.
Yeah.
That's right.
although hoping it's not going to be brutally cold because you know how cold those places get, even if it's not horribly cold outside.
It's
You
just
know,
damp, and it's that damp
Yeah.
chill that you can't. Just
Bring
gonna
a
have to
little
wear it out.
heater, a blanket.
I
That's
have my
right.
foot warmers and my hand warmers,
Yeah,
so I'll be good. I'll be good.
those help. Those help.
Could be a
Yeah.
short investigation. We'll see.
Which is, it's only
Sometimes
going to be a couple of hours. Yes, yes,
it's
because
okay.
of that. There's no
Sometimes
electricity. Yeah.
You
it's
won't be
not
able
the
to.
quantity, it's the
It's
quality.
the cool. Well, I have a feeling that we won't get a lot of good EVPs because all you'll hear is.
Teeth chattering. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's like chilled.
I can see my breath. It's just because it's cold in here.
Yeah, that's not an apparition for me. That's not a myth. It's just called Teresa. Hello from the UK. That's great.
Hey, hi. Can I have some chips, please?
Yeah, it's funny. This show started in the UK. So when Julie and I started the Paranormal Project, we were taken on by a station in the United Kingdom outside of London.
Ah, I
And
love it there.
so
I like the UK.
we were live in the UK every Monday at like 2 or so. I can't remember what time. Monday at noon or
Yes.
Monday at 2 or something.
Yes.
That's
And then
awesome.
when I was on Andrea's show, Bill, her producer, said, "Geez, would you be interested in coming to KGRA?" And I thought, great. But so this show still airs in the UK. It goes over, and so we send them the recording now. We don't do it live
Sure.
anymore. But
Yeah.
on Mondays, they play it over in the UK. Fish and chips coming your way.
Thank you, Teresa. That is a super fan, Joe.
Awesome.
That is
Thank
a
you.
super fan.
I can be bribed with food.
So, Joe, I have a question for you.
Yes. Yeah.
When I was doing some research for the show, yes, people, I really do research for the show. I found something called surviving evidence.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
Mr.
one of the
Cesare.
names I noticed was Brian Cano was on, but I couldn't find it. I went deep into the web and couldn't find anything. So can you tell me, was this a movie? Was it a pilot for a TV show?
It was Krista Cesare's story on what happened to in his college year, where he had oh, am I confusing that one? Or was it Bruce Tango's? Oh gosh,
Dave Tango's dad?
Dave Tango dad did
Oh.
a documentary, but I believe that I might be confusing it with the other one with Ghost Boy, Steve DeCesare. He was haunted, and things were following him. So he did a movie where they interviewed myself, people in the paranormal, and we filmed at Annie Faye's or Fannie Mae's, where they did this documentary and talked about his hauntings. So it was like a documentary film.
Oh, okay. Okay. What
Surviving
was it
evidence.
released on YouTube or on TV or
I think it's on DVD.
DVD?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yes, I tried to find blurbs for it. I tried to find, sometimes you can get like a little piece from it or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, look on
And I
YouTube or
couldn't find a
something.
whole lot of information on it.
Huh.
That sounds very interesting. Wow.
It was. It was a documentary, and they filmed various people: Brian Cano,
Sure.
myself, my sister Chris, Rosalind Bound, and a few others who knew Chris and what we thought about his story and the possible haunting and whether or not
Oh,
we had
wow.
anything to do with it. But we
Oh,
know
okay.
Chris,
Wow.
surviving evidence.
Gotcha. Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm going to have to look for the DVD then because it sounds really interesting.
Yeah,
And if you
yeah.
have a DVD player, I'll have to come over and watch it with you because I don't even have a DVD player
I
anymore.
don't either, but my daughter does.
Oh, she does. Pizza party at her house. Yeah.
Hi, I
Right.
brought pizza.
Right? The computers don't come with DVD players anymore. Mine
No,
don't.
nothing.
They don't, which is a shame, really.
Yeah.
No, it's true. They don't come with anything.
Yes.
Everything's got to be plugged in externally now.
Oh, it's too much. Too
Yeah.
much.
Joe, we have a few minutes left. I can't believe, we're already at like the 50-minute mark here, just about. So, what would you like people to know? What's going on? I mean, if they want to see you, I know you have some of these events coming up.
Yeah. I'm also trying to get together with Scotty Tepperman, Scarefest. I believe they want to do a small GHI reunion at Scarefest, and supposedly Scotty and I may be together at that event. So we're trying to work the logistics out whether I can do it or not.
Oh,
But yeah, I
Where's
love all
that?
the cons. I love
Where-
all of it.
Where's Scarefest? Where does that take place?
It's in Kentucky.
Oh, well, Kentucky's scary anyway, I think.
Yeah, there are a lot of scary people in Kentucky who drink moonshine.
Scary place.
that white lightning stuff.
White lightning.
right.
They the after parties legendary.
Oh my God.
The debacle happens.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
seriously.
that's why I love events, though. You get to meet all your paranormal friends and
Yeah.
in the field. You get to see some great places, and it's like a big reunion. And then you
Yes.
like-minded people. You don't have to worry about
Nice.
somebody saying, "Oh yeah, that guy's a ghost guy. He's crazy."
Yeah, it's one of those crazy people. Yeah.
That's
We're
okay. You can call me
everywhere now,
crazy.
though, Joe.
You have to be a little crazy these days.
You do, honestly. I mean, I just retired from MIT after 30 years, and I managed a lab that had a lot of graduate students, and I kind of kept it a secret for a while what I do as a hobby,
Yeah.
ghost hunting, paranormal investigating, and it slipped out one time, and these scientists were fascinated. Anytime they would ask me, "You going out this weekend?" And then they would come into my office and ask me, "So, have any evidence? Have anything we can listen to? Anything we can see?" They were very open-minded and really excited
Oh,
about the
that's
whole
good.
thing.
That's
Yes, it really
it's
was.
refreshing because before you couldn't mention it. It was like taboo.
No.
You had to
No,
hide it and be ashamed that you were a ghost hunter.
absolutely. Yes, exactly. You were the crazy lady down the street. She
Yeah.
must be a witch,
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, Joe, next week we have a man coming on our show right here who he and his wife bought this old Victorian mansion that had fallen into disrepair, and they had bought it with the hopes of restoring it, and the paranormal activity was so bad that they left with the shirt off their backs and never returned. Well, I think they've been back a few times, and of course I'm talking about the SK Pierce. And you talked about going there, and it's interesting because Edwin will be on the show next week. He and his wife lived in that home,
Yeah,
and they had some terrifying experiences.
I remember them telling us.
Yeah, they would probably were the owners when ghost hunters investigated there, I would think.
Yeah,
They
yeah, yeah.
went back a long
Well,
way.
ghost hunters investigated there twice. The first time
Oh,
was
okay.
the man and his son. Then the second time was with Lillian and Edwin. But
Yeah.
Joe, now I'm convinced that we were there the same night
I think
because
so.
Edwin, because Lillian came in
Hmm.
and was talking about, had come in to visit and was talking about a little bit about what happened. So I'm really convinced now we were there the same night.
I think so because at that time she was buying antiques and bringing the antiques in the house,
Yes.
and they were wondering whether or not the antiques were causing some of the activity. And I said, I think so. I think you buying these antiques and bringing them in the house is causing some of the activity. But I remember her telling us that and meeting her and Edwin.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, anyway, next week he's going to be here. We're going to be able to chat about that. Joe, it's been an absolute pleasure seeing you again. Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for being on the show with us. Folks, have a great weekend. We'll see you next week right here on the show. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Hang out afterwards, Joe. We'll chat.
Okay.
You have been listening to The Paranormal Project with Scott Allen and Julie Finn. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. While you're there, leave us a rating and review so others can find out about the show. Stay haunted and go out there and explore the paranormal.